All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with a very explosive Bitcoin update for today. So, as you can see on my chart, I'm on the 1 hour chart, and Bitcoin is just exploding to the upside. We are breaking through key resistances like they are nothing, and it is just continuing. If we zoom in here onto the 24-minute or 30-minute chart, you can see money flow is increasing rapidly. No bear divs yet on 30-minute time frame. Let's go on to the 15-minute time frame. No bear divs, money flow increasing rapidly on the 15-minute, 1 hour, no bear divs. We do money flow increasing, green dot right now on the 1 hour. We are seeing Bitcoin explode. So I talked about this a little bit in the last couple videos, but I didn't want to accept it because of our big resistance that we had here, our naked daily point of control, our weekly, our 786 here. And I was just considering it not a possibility with this, but it's happening. So let's go into this. You can see how aggressive this impulse to the upside is. This could be the start of an impulse. Now, down here, after this first day of pumpage, I made a video saying this is the start of an impulse. Now, how high or how aggressive this impulse is going to be, we don't know. But you guys, this can get really, really bullish for Bitcoin. If this here is a wave one, this was our wave two correction that we longed yesterday. Our wave three could bust all the way to new all-time highs, and then we could see a correction back to retest the weekly, and then we could end at like 115, something like that. So Bitcoin can bust to new all-time highs today if it keeps going at the rate it's going now. Money flow looks strong. No bear divs on the 4 hour. If we look at our CVD indicator, no bearish CVD here. We do see our open interest increasing, so these are fresh. You can see our CVD is increasing through here and our open interest is increasing. So these are fresh long positions that are pushing the price up. This is a healthy move to the upside. No lack of momentum here pushing to the upside. Now we do have a daily level coming up here. If we break this daily, I mean, gosh, there's not much above us to hold us down. Really, Bitcoin is just exploding right now. And we might see new all-time highs today or very soon here. So Bitcoin looking bullish, looking very, very bullish here. You can see on this, let's turn on our volume here and look at this volume to the upside here, you guys. We are seeing massive, massive volume to the upside on this push right now. And so what this tells me is this could be a third impulsive wave that we're going through now. If we SFP'd the all-time highs today, and then create a correction range over the weekend. And then maybe Monday, you know, we know Trump's inauguration is Monday. We see another impulse to the upside. But this looks bullish. This looks really bullish here right now. Bitcoin's looking very strong. And we just got to go with the momentum, ride the train. All right, so let's zoom in on some of this here. Let me get rid of this volume here. And let's look at, what did I just do? All right, let's get rid of some of this stuff. Let's clean up this chart a bit. Let's analyze kind of what's happening right now. Now, one thing I do want to caution about, you guys, when we see a straight up move like this with almost no structure, when we do get a correction, it can be very fast and aggressive. It can be like a liquidation cascade crash to the downside. It can be very impulsive. After we get a big move up, it can be very impulsive down. So we have to be aware that this is creating a lot of liquidity below us that we can just crash to very, very hard if we do start to lose our trend. Now we can look at our trend here. If we take a parallel channel from the 89K lows to our correction lows that we had yesterday, and we put them to our first major high here, and let's zoom in on this. Let's go on to the 1 hour chart and let's look at this channel that we're in here. So you can see, let's do that there. You can see this channel's been highly respected. Midline was holding through here, held here. We got the correction down. Actually, let me fix this. There we go. And here we go. All right. Yeah, midline's being highly respected here. Now, yesterday night in the video, I did talk about our resistance that was the macro golden pocket in the 886. Last night, we did come into that and we hit that resistance pretty much to the dollar. We came up to our naked daily point of control. That was about right here. And we did see a correction down. But what we did is Remember in yesterday's video, we were in this range here. We were in this range here, and we were trading the value area. We were looking at the value area of that range. So I was talking about, okay, you guys, we were measuring this, and remember, we were looking at this possible right shoulder that was going to be created for a head and shoulders topping pattern. But I said if we hold this value area high here, so let's bring it to this right before the breakout here, like right here, and we were not able to get down below that value area high. The value area high held us, which told us that Bitcoin wanted higher prices because it was breaking our value area high, testing it as support. And the second we tested as support, we saw a big volume push to the upside. Now, when we push to the upside, let me go into these supports that I have here, or not that one. Where did that sucker go? I need to start labeling better. All right, let's see here. This right here, this was our resistance that we were looking into. So we did hit into our purple resistance box and we got a drop. But I did post about this real time too in the Discord. If we take a Fibonacci pull from our high, our most recent high to our low, you can see that we bounced straight from our golden pocket. So let me turn golden pocket only on, and let's zoom in here onto the 5-minute chart. So after we were able to hold this value area high. We had our big explosive move to the upside to the top of our resistance box. We did get a small rejection from the resistance, but when we came down to our point of control and it held, that was a sign that Bitcoin was maybe going to continue higher. So I was still hoping that we would form a range in here and see a bit of a correction, but we did it. And a lot of this happened last night while I was sleeping. And Bitcoin just continued higher. Now, this morning, we continued this breakout. We came to our next box of support here, our naked daily point of control, our weekly, our monthly pivot, and our 786 here. We did see a small rejection here, but we continued on our big hourly trend. We continued to bounce off the midline. Then we came up to our naked weekly point of control, which is this line here. You can see we did get a decent rejection to our naked weekly point of control, but once again, the midline is holding, and now we're even making new highs right now. So what we can watch for is just this trend to continue. We have to just continue to respect the trend until it continues. We might just see on lower time frames a move back down to retest the weekly and the midline again, and then continue up higher. If you want to look at scalping this, it is very dangerous to scalp near the top of a big move like this. But if we are in a third wave impulse and you want to try to catch some of this impulse, you can look at intraday scalps to take to continue the trend to the upside. But please, please, please have risk management and be aware. If you are going to try to scalp along this to go with the trend, you have to have proper risk management just in case you're wrong, because this trend could end. And when we see that liquidation flush that happens from this parabolic move, you can get liquidated or flush or be underwater so quick. So if we are going to come down to this weekly and back test this weekly in this channel midline here, if you want to long this, okay, let's look at this. You're going to put your long there. Your stops have to go below this most recent low. These lows right here. You would put your stop loss below that, because if we lose that, we're going to start losing structure. And then you would put your long, I mean, we could bring our long up to the 108.4K highs, the top of the channel. For me, I would look at the top of the channel, and by then, actually, the top of the channel will be right around our 104.8K highs. It would be right up around here. So if we hold this here and we bring this to the SFP of our all-time highs, maybe like 108.5-ish, we would look for that, and that's a 6.5 risk reward on a scalp trade that we could see just for today. Now, that is only if we start bouncing from this weekly. What I would wait for, I would actually wait for the bounce and not actually long the exact touch of the weekly. What I would be watching for is something like this, coming down to here, bouncing, and then when we start to see our bounce, yes, you're going to be entering up here a little bit above. You could even enter a little bit above right here, and then you could put your long position right here, and then you could put your stop, either keep it below this low here, or you could even put it below the low that was made at the weekly here, and that would be a scalp trade, because with scalp trades, if you're trading the trend, you have to have proper risk management just in case it does drop and continue. We are in a major resistance zone. We are breaking that. Looks like right now we're trying to flip the daily naked point of weekly naked point of control. Right now we're trying to flip that to a support. You can see we're coming down right now to bounce to that, to flip it to support. I would still like to, I'd rather come down to the weekly and the midline again, because the midline's really been acting as a support for us. So if we do come down to 104.4, you could look at a long there, take it up to 108.4 all-time highs, 108.5. But this impulse, this does look like an impulsive wave. If I zoom out once again, let's zoom out onto the hourly chart. Let's look at this price action that we're seeing here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this range that I showed you guys about yesterday. Now this is no longer valid, or no longer, actually, I'm just going to delete it. All right. We do have our naked daily point of control still at 99,750. So that is going to be, we'll zoom in on that in just a bit to look at that. But all right, so let's turn our volume on again and let's look at this volume here. Look at this, you guys. This is a really increase in volume here that we're seeing to the upside. And Bitcoin is just looking so strong right now. We are at major resistances, so we could have just wicked past this naked weekly point of control, and it could be ending here. Just listen, if you guys are going to try to scalp this, please have proper risk management. Please use proper stop losses, because if this continues, good. If it doesn't, you get stopped out and you go on to the next one, because we are in a major zone of resistance here. So you have to be aware that on higher time frames, we're at resistance levels, not longing levels. You don't long major resistances unless it's a scalp and you're playing the trend and you want to continue. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, let's go into what we could be looking at. The bottom, this channel is going to be very important. If we lose this trend here of this ascending channel, we could expect a bigger correction to the downside, especially with this trail of liquidity that we're building up that's so impulsive and so strong. So what we could do right now, and this might change depending on the high. Right now, we're going to do from our high that we have right now that we just created, but this could be, our high could be different in just an hour or 2 hours. So you can see if we go from our 89K lows to our current high, our golden pocket also is in alignment with the box of support that we already have here. What we could be doing, let's zoom out onto the 6-hour chart and let's look at the range here. Now, I'm going to pull a range from this sideways price action on, and we're going to look at this range, and then we're going to pull a range from the November 11th all the way. All right, let me hide the one I just did real quick. Let's look at this. So this range is pretty well. All right, let's do this. All right, we got the November 11th range. Let's turn off that range and let's look at this range here. Let's pull it to, so we broke the value area high. We could be watching now in healthy markets. When you break a major range value area high, oftentimes you come back to it to back test it to flip it into support. Our prior highs are also really nearby on a more macro level. So that would be testing our prior highs as support and testing our prior range value area high as support. So let's zoom in on this and let's check to see how it aligns with the top of the channel. All right, our value area high here is near the bottom of the channel. If it does, take some time. So value area high is this line right here, this white line. If we do start to see a rejection in our weekly and our midline doesn't hold and we don't do that, if we just drop straight through it, we could be looking for a drop to the bottom of the channel, which would also be in alignment with our value area high back test. And then we could continue higher. So that level is about 102K. So let's actually mark that out on the chart. And we'll see if we have any other confluence with that. So value area high there. I am going to be watching during this video to see if we come down to that weekly, because I'm interested in scalping that if we see proper confirmation there. And we would be looking for low time frame bull divs and money flow to be continuing to the upside on mid time frames and maybe even low time frame. So our value area high there. And if we do a Fibonacci pull from our last pivot low of the channel to the highs that we just made, And let's turn on our 382 because 382 is strong trend. So it's a little bit above that, but that's more and closely aligned. If I zoom back out here, let me go to the 4-hour chart and let's put on our prior highs, which were right here. So our prior highs are very close to that 382. So I would say that's like a zone of support here if we're going to continue to be really bullish. I actually don't like the 382 as much as I like the value area high retest. Let's look at the 0.5. That's too low. Okay, so yeah, I think the bigger retest is the bottom of the channel with the value area high. That's where I would be looking if we do see a bigger pullback from here. But if we do see a bigger pullback from here, we really need to watch because you can see this is very parabolic, explosive price action to the upside. So we have to be careful because anytime you see a parabola to the upside like this is a giant trail of liquidity of longs. And we did look at our open interest in CVD. These are fresh longs that are entering the market. So if we start to see that drop here, it could not stop here. It could just keep flushing all the way down to our 99.7 naked daily point of control and take a majority of this liquidity in a giant short squeeze, long squeeze, excuse me. So that's something to be aware of, you guys. You have to analyze the price action as it's occurring to see if that's going to happen. All right. Now, a couple other things I wanted to point out. So I think this ascending channel that I just showed you is really important. Let me clean up these charts a bit. Let me turn off this range now. And I'm actually just going to turn off this value area high for a second. All right. Now I'm also going to get rid of this purple box here because this purple box is no longer. And so right now we just back tested the weekly naked point of control and we're bouncing from it. Let's see here. Yeah, see that? Back test naked weekly point of control. We're going up higher. So our next level to look for a small rejection is here, but this trend is just so strong right now. And we even have a smaller channel on the 1 minute time frame that I posted. Let's see. Well, I'll just make it again. I'll show you guys. So that 1 minute channel I posted from here to the next higher low rate here. And then we've got it. We'll bring it down to these lows here. So we're following this 1 minute channel right now. And okay, we could reject from this midline here and continue further down, but it doesn't look like it's going to. The highs of that channel are closer to our big 1 hour highs, or closer to the daily there than our big channel. But I mean, this is just, we got to continue the trend to keep going here. So we are trading in a very aggressive 1 minute channel, and then we have our big hourly channel trend that is more important, far more important. That's this 1 minute channel is just a micro trend of what's happening right now in this explosive parabolic move up. Another thing I want to show you guys and talk about. So let me look at, I created a new pitchfork here based off of some of these lows. So let's zoom out here. Let me go on to the 15-minute chart, and I'm going to show you this pitchfork. This pitchfork is a modified skiff pitchfork. It is from the 89K lows, and then it's our wave 2 correction. So it's our wave 1 impulse, and then our wave 2 correction. And so what you can do from that, let me actually get rid of this 1 hour channel now, and we can look at this and let's zoom in on this and see how well this is respected. Look at the midline rejected to the dollar, rejected to the dollar. We dropped to the band, held the band, came up midline. We wicked a little bit past it, but rejected. It was holding us down pretty much all day, but we were still coming up in bullish price action and just testing it. And then when we finally broke it, we broke it with volume. We broke to the top of the band. You can see we got the rejection, which was also our 104.2 naked daily point of control in our weekly. Actually, no, that's not. That's a higher than that. That's our 105 naked weekly point of control, which is the top of the band. We did see our rejection. We already kind of back tested this weekly, and now we're continuing to pump. But the top of our channel, or the top of our pitchfork here, is around this daily. It's a little bit higher than that. So we do need to watch that. Let's turn on real quick our pivot points. Okay, our other pivot points near all-time high. So we're not going to be looking at that. And let's look at some order blocks. They're all down there. Yeah, guys, we don't have much resistance above us now. We're just continuing to explode in this. Let's do this. And let's look at our fair value gaps. Nothing really. Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys, I mean, Bitcoin is just looking bullish. It's looking like it wants to continue this breakout, this impulse to the upside. And remember, the third wave is often longer than the first wave. Now, this could be an extended first wave, but if Bitcoin is really going to do what we think it's going to do with, you know, Trump coming in and maybe this Bitcoin reserve that's about to get signed into law, if that happens, we could see a explosive 5-wave upside move. And this third wave could go very, very high. We could see it go super high, and then we could continue even much higher. This just looks like it's just starting, to be honest. Like, look at now it is starting to get a little bit parabolic here. So when you start to lose a parabola, you can flush down real quick to take the liquidity trail. But until that happens, we're just gonna ride this trend. We got to ride this trend. We got to respect it and be very careful trying to short a third wave impulse. You can get wrecked so fast if you set limits here. So when we came up earlier today to our naked daily point of control in our weekly at 104.2 to 104.4, I was looking for a short. And I did attempt to short here, and then as soon as I saw it holding the midline on the 1 minute, I got out of it right away. I think I did lose. That was a losing trade for me. I lost a small portion on that, but I got out of it rather than letting it run because it was so impulsive to the upside. So we'll just watch Bitcoin as it continues to pump up. New all-time highs are still highly likely now, and we could see this thing go much higher. So let's actually zoom out onto the daily chart and let's look at where we could go for this. What we could do here is we could do our pitchfork from the bottom of the correction of this big wave here. Actually, I would want to do it. Let's see. Let's do it from right here. This start of this impulsive price action. We would go from the start of this impulsive price action to our old all-time high. And then down to our 89K low that we made. All right, that's that. Yep. And then what we would look at, let's zoom in onto the 4-hour chart. Okay, and I'm going to look at the skiff pitchfork first to see how well that works. No, the modified skiff looks better. All right, let's turn that back to a modified skiff. We are at the midline right now. You can see this pitchfork has been respected so far in this band. We were trading. We rejected from the band, held the band for a little while, came up to the top again, rejected. That's when we came down. Hey, how TradingView does that. TradingView kind of makes these points go off when you zoom in on that stuff. So let me make sure this is all good here. All right. So we could see a stall right now, you guys, because we are at a daily and it's the pitchfork midline. But even if we see a stall, we're going to look for that back test of the weekly to continue higher. So our next major band resistance, depending on time-wise, if this impulse continues really, really strongly, I would still expect it to take a few days or so, but we do have 115, around 115 would be our next major resistance for this pitchfork. And then that could be the end of our third wave around 115K. If we do see something like this is our 1 wave, our 2 wave, our 3 wave could come all the way up to here. Our 4th wave would be back testing that pitchfork, and then we would maybe come up here to our 5 wave. And so, you know what, 120, 125, that's a good level. Let's actually zoom out here again back onto the daily, and we're going to look at more macro targets here on some of my macro TA stuff. So because this is a local pitchfork, but I've got multiple higher time frame pitchforks that we could be looking at. So let's go down here to our macro TA folder. Okay. Well, I still think 145 is a big level we could be watching. Here is this pitchfork that we were breaking to the upside. Let's see. You can see how well this pitchfork's been respected. Bounce from here, rejected. Bounce from here. Came to the band again, bounced. And we were finding resistance at near the top of this band here. Now it looks like we're starting to break out. Let me zoom back out onto the weekly chart real quick, and let's look. This is an inside pitchfork pulled from the 65K all-time high down to the bear market lows up to the 69K highs. So we're breaking that to the upside. Let's turn this one off, and let's go ahead and look at a couple more that we have. Not that one. All right, let's do another pitchfork pull. What we could do is from the start of wave 1 down here to the highs of wave 2 to the lows here. And let's make that an original. Zoom in onto the daily here. That's been pretty nicely respected here. Okay, so we are breaking into it. You can see we rejected from the band multiple times here. So the top of this band, if we do continue this pump, yeah, it's still 115. So we have multiple confluences around 115K of major pitchfork resistances. So this thing could pump up to God, that's crazy, but it could pump up to 115 pretty easy. Now that might be the end of our 5th wave though as well, you guys. So let me zoom back in here on the 4-hour chart, and we can look at this just impulsive price action here. We could look at our 1 wave here, our 2 wave, which is a very short corrective wave. I mean, that is very short for a 2 correction wave. I kind of don't like that. But our 3rd wave could bring us to the 108.5 all-time highs, like an SFP of the all-time highs here. And then our 4th wave would maybe be a correction back to the bottom of this pitchfork and a retest of our weekly. And then our 5 wave could end around there. Actually, that would make our 5th wave, that would make our 5th wave longer than our 3rd wave. So we don't want that. Gosh, you guys, this is interesting. This is going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here. We're getting close to price discovery again. So we can look at the top of our 1-hour channel, though. The top of our 1-hour channel is going to be a resistance level, especially with how aggressive this channel is. And let's zoom in onto the hourly chart, and let's look at, so we got to presume it's going to take a couple hours, even at the rate we're pumping at now. Even if we continue that rate, the top of our channel is near our all-time highs there. So I do expect an SFP of the all-time highs and the top of into the top of the channel, and then a retrace. But even if we have that, we could expect it just to make, even if it's a more macro lower high, to continue to new all-time highs. So that is something we need to be watching for there on that. Let's do this here. Let's do our trend-based Fibonacci extinction, and let's look at where our 3rd wave could end. So if we go from the highs of 1, or the lows of 1 to the highs of 1 to the lows of 2 here, and our 1.618, let's make sure this is turned on. Fibs based off log scale. Okay, 120. Wow. Okay, so our 1.618 could end near the top of this band here. Actually, it would take time. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. That's pretty crazy up there, but who knows? You know, when Bitcoin decides to pump, it really decides to pump there. This could also, you guys, be a sort of what's called a double 1-2 in Bitcoin. I know that another really respected Elliott trader, Coons Trading, he's the best Elliott analyst in the entire world. He could be he was talking about looking at this as like a 1-2, 1-2, and then see a 3rd wave up. So we do have to keep that in mind, you guys, because this corrective price action here did not last very long at all. So this could be a smaller 1-2, 1-2, and then our 3rd wave, maybe the end of the 2 wave ends at our all-time high, and then we see a correction down to You know, we could even come down as low as 100K again, that the back test of the value area high around 102K, excuse me. And then we could pump up here much higher. So that is another possibility to watch. I don't know. That's too early to tell for me right now. And to me, this parabola that we're starting to see to the upside really looks like a third wave impulse to me because the volume increase on it. We're seeing volume increase very strongly here. So to me, we know that in an Elliott impulse pattern, a 5-wave impulse pattern, the third wave is our most explosive, longest, and volume filled wave to the upside. So we could see that as well. Usually a common target for our third wave is a 1.618 as far as a trend-based Fibonacci extinction, but that's all the way up at 120K. Actually, let me turn off the log scale on this because we are only analyzing this relevant price action. Okay, so that makes actually a lot more sense, you guys. Our third wave might even end all the way up at the top of this pitchfork band. So we have multiple levels. That 115, remember, we have this pitchfork here, which we just created from the wave 1 lows. We have this pitchfork here, so we have two pitchfork bands in here and our 1.618. This thing might go all the way like this. And then we would be looking at 102 or the midline here as a back test. And so that could happen. I mean, I know that's a very explosive price action, but if we zoom out onto the daily, we were seeing bull divs on the daily here. And look at our money flow, it's just rising on the daily. We still have a lot of time left on this daily momentum wave. If we break all-time highs, we do have to watch for another drive of bearish divergence. So if we do come up, say it takes a few days, because remember, every time this is on the daily time frame, so it will take a few days to get up here, and then say we top out at 115K, we would have now 3 drives of bearish div on the daily time frame because we'd be making higher highs and lower highs here. And I do think if we really zoom out, so actually let me go on a different chart to clean this up here and show you guys. All right, we did break our bearish pitchfork to the upside, and I talked about this in yesterday's video as well. Remember that 886 was near the top of the pitchfork. Well, we busted it to the upside. We back tested it on low time frames. Busted it to the upside, back tested on low time frames, and continued higher. So, and I did say to watch out because when we break a bearish pitchfork like this, we could bust. I actually said this in yesterday's video. I said we have to watch out because if we break this, and we could really see an impulse to the upside to bust out, because anytime you break a major bearish pitchfork, you usually see some follow through. So now we can get rid of that because that is no longer necessary. And we can go in. Let me turn this off to clean this up. We can zoom out onto the weekly chart, and I want to show you guys something on the weekly chart. Let me see here. Okay, so on the weekly chart, from the start of our bull market, if we're going to see a 5-wave impulse, this was wave 1. Wave 2 was a flat correction there, complex correction. Wave 3 was our BlackRock listing. Our BlackRock announced in September about here. And then we saw our big BlackRock listing and acceptance all the way up to 74K. Then we had that 7-month range for most of 2024. We dumped down to the 49K, 50K area. And now our 5th wave could be ending here. I would think the 5th wave could go as high as 145K or 140-ish. But around 120, would be a good level. That 116 to 120 would be a good level to look for. So this could be our last move up in a bull market before we see a much bigger correction to the downside. Now, this correction after a 5-wave impulse, you want to see, that's not the right thing. You want to see a bigger A, B, C to the downside. And that could bring us all the way back down into like the 70K area again, something like that, or even lower. So we could be retesting what used to be our prior highs now as support, because you got to remember, you guys, this level here, which used to be our prior highs in here could now act as a support level, at least for a wave A or even for a whole correction there. All right, I'm getting a little bit into the weeds here. We're talking about high time frame stuff that's not happening right now. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. I just want to show you more macro time frame stuff. Now, another thing that we could do is we could look at this clean chart here, and let's go into our, remember we talked about this channel. I have this channel on my other chart, but I'm just going to show you. So we're going to go from the very lows of the bull market to the next higher low up to this first high. And we had this channel. And remember when we hit the macro golden pocket and it was, we dropped to the midline, that was a 10K drop in a day. And then we bounced from the midline. And then when we broke this channel to the upside, I said, okay, but this trend is still the mega trend that's still in track, the macro trend that's still intact. So what do? We take the channel, but we just extend it to a fib channel to get our extinction targets on that. So we go into our fib channel. So the same exact channel I just showed you, we're pulling it from bear market lows to the next lower high up to the first high here. You can see our pink channel is the same channel. But then remember, when we hit the 1.618 and rejected at 74K, I was calling for that rejection based off it being a 1.618. We can still look at the 1.618 again. Now, this 1.618 target is going to be an important target. So let's zoom in onto the daily chart and let's get a better look at where that could be. So about you guys, it's that 115, 116K area, which is now it actually might take a few days to get there. So I'd say 115 to 117K is looking like a more macro major resistance, you guys. If we do make it up to 115K, I will be looking for confirmations for higher time frame swing shorts, even if it's gonna just correct, 10K and then continue higher. But I would be looking for that. So that is something we need to watch for. These are major targets. These are major trends that we're following. This is the trend of the entire bull market since 2022, since those lows at 16K. Okay, so that's enough of Bitcoin on higher time frames. Let's zoom in real quick here on the hourly time frames, and of course we have our all-time our anchored VWAP from the all-time high, which is going to be important because it's still right around the lows of this liquidity from the correction that we saw yesterday. Now, if you guys long that correction, remember I posted about that in the video before it happened, and we bounced pretty much perfect from that. And you still kept some of that. If you took a partial at your first take profit and kept some of that, you'd be massive profit right now. So it's just when you see a trend like this and you see a pullback and you're expecting more bullish price action, definitely want to try to get in on that. And even like right now, if we do see a small pullback here, I'd be looking for a scalp, but that's we're gonna have to see how that plays out. And obviously you guys are gonna have to kind of try to figure that out on your own. I'm hoping I'm showing you guys enough here so that you can understand that on your own. Just use proper risk management, you guys. That's the thing to do. Proper risk management. This channel's nice too. I just saw this based off these two highs instead of taking it from the lows, those two highs, but you can see we're kind of breaking. I mean, the top of the channel and the midline of this has been really respected as well. Wow. Okay. I'm going to keep this on the chart because this does look nice. We could be seeing a fake out of the channel right now and go back in. The other channel is still something we need to keep in mind as well. So if we go on to the hourly chart, we do another one from the same low to higher low here, and then we bring it to our first major high. Oh, come on. Here, let's change that to a blue one. Yeah, all right. If we do start correcting over the weekend, you guys, it is a Friday, and we got to expect the weekend, especially after this giant impulse today. The weekend's probably going to be a little bit more mellow, and we're probably going to kind of start to form a sideways range or maybe a sideways and down range. Look at this here. The midline of the pink channel as well as the bottom of the steeper channel are aligning around that 104.2, which is also the back test of the weekly, and then we could continue higher. right here. 104.4 is the weekly. So actually, let's zoom in on this and let's put that weekly on the chart here. You can see our weekly is there right here. No, not there. Weekly here. And so now that we could look for us if we start to form a range, remember this is the hourly chart, so we could start to form a sideways range all weekend. Come to here. We could stop out where we're at. We could stall out where we're at right now. Let's see, did we hit the daily? We didn't hit the daily. Let me clean this chart up, you guys. All right, I'm going to hide the hourly channel. I just showed you that pink hourly channel. Now our VWAP here is coming in around the bottom of our pitchfork, which that's in a very, very bullish trend like this. Oftentimes when you pump away from the VWAP like this and you come back down to it, it does hold its support and you continue higher. So if we do start to see a little bit of a correction now, but I still think the 102K, the value area high retest that we had is a pretty important one. This value area high here at 102, because you can see it was also our prior little prior high. We had some resistance there. So if we do come down that far, we might not, because if this is a third wave impulse, we might just make smaller, lower highs, then continue. All right, that's it for Bitcoin, guys. Let me go ahead and now I'm going to go into Ethereum here. First of all, just from today's price action, we're kind of starting to form a range here. Last time I made a video about this, I think I put this in the video, but we were in this descending channel here. Let me get rid of this real quick. We were in this descending channel. You can see it was really respected, and we did come down to like almost double bottom these lows, and then we broke out of it. We broke out of it, back tested it, and then now we're kind of just continuing to range here. Ethereum is definitely lagging behind Bitcoin. And what we could look at here for local, if you think Ethereum's going to follow after Bitcoin, we can pull the range here of this, and you can see our point of control is also the golden pocket pull. And this golden pocket is from this low here to the highs that we made right here. So we can look at, what is that, 33.31 as a support level, a local support level, to look if we think Ethereum's going to continue up. Now, on higher time frames, we are, let me get rid of this now that we broke out of it. We are reclaiming the band, you guys. This bigger pitchfork band here that we're in, we are reclaiming it. So let's zoom out onto the 4-hour chart. Remember, I talked about these pitchforks, you guys. We bounced directly from the bottom of our pitchfork, and it was also our naked weekly point of control down there. And this was right when Bitcoin was making its 89K lows. And really, the tops and bottoms of pitchforks are such good levels to watch. I do like the bands as well. The midline is, so the tops and the bottoms are the most important. The midline is really important too. And you often see chop within the bands. But man, when you come to a top or a bottom of a pitchfork, pay attention to it. Now, up here near this, we still have our naked daily point of control, our value area high of the bigger range. Let's see, is it this range? So we have our range from December 19th to present day. It's not that range. Okay, so we do locally, very, very locally, we could SFP these highs at the value area high. It is probably also a golden pocket. Let's see here. If we go from high to low. Turn on our golden pockets. Nope, that's our 786. Let's look. No, okay. So I wouldn't be looking at that too much unless we confirm the SFP and then continue to range. I mean, Ethereum has been definitely more rangy than Bitcoin. But let's actually look at our bigger range. Our same range from November 11th here, November 10th here. So this is our range, the big range that Bitcoin's been in. This is ETH version of that big range. And yeah, you can see our value area high of our range is here. Our point of control, we finally, we rejected from our point of control here, saw the big flush to the downside, finally broke it to the upside and we're able to kind of back test it. We did see wicks past it, but back test it, and now we're pumping up. So Ethereum, I would actually expect higher. I would expect to come up at least to this resistance level here, which is the top of the band, and the value area high is close by. We have our naked daily point of control up there. Let's see. Yeah, our naked daily point of control is right on top of the value area high. So that is definitely a level to be watching, that 36.25. What was that? 36.29 area. And if it takes some time to get up there, our band will be in a close alignment with that. We can always see the wick past the band, but then the band hold like on a 4-hour candle. So our next resistance on Ethereum is there. We can look at the SFPs of these highs. Oh, okay. Another thing I want to show you. See how we rejected pretty much exactly to the dollar from this midline here? I'm going to zoom out on Ethereum real quick, and we're going to look at this. Let's go on to the daily chart. Now, this channel, I've got to hide a few things. So let me hide. Actually, I'm going to just I'll show you on a different chart. Okay. If we look at, let me hide these. Wow, this is very old price action. Hey, if any of you guys know how to clean the chart, like if you have a chart with a bunch of crap on it, and I know there's a trick on TradingView where you can just like delete it all at once, like refresh the chart. I don't know how to do that. So if any of you guys know how to do that and we post it in the comments, I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so let's go to the weekly chart, and I want to show you what is happening on the weekly, because right away when we zoom out on the weekly, I can see a very key trend on Ethereum. We are in a weekly channel, which was that midline that we just rejected from. So if we go from the lows here in June of 2022 to the next higher lows, actually, I think I used this low here. Yeah, and then we bring it to our first major high here. You can see a weekly channel, you guys, that is multiple years long, that is just so respected here. Midline was holding, bounced from the midnight, lost it, came to the bottom. The bottom held for multiple weeks here, and then we pumped up. Now, just the other day, so if I zoom in here back onto the daily chart, you can see how we literally rejected it perfect to the dollar here, and we're dumping. So that midline is going to be a big resistance to watch for until we can get past it. We do eventually want to flip that. So if we take our volume pull on the daily again, this same volume pull, okay, the midline, that's past that. Let's do our Fibonacci pull from the highs here all the way up here to the lows. And our 786 is right at that midline. Okay, so watch out for that, you guys. 38.53. And then also, I know it's kind of a big SFP, but we can see these on altcoins, a big SFP. We have our liquidity there. So we might pump up here. Like that would have to be like an hourly SFP or a 2-hour, but I kind of don't like that. That's too far away. But that is a level to watch for. And then let's do this. Let's look at our naked daily points of control here. Where are you at? Come on. Okay, no naked daily points of control. We do have this fair value gap in here. You can see this body that doesn't have any wicks into it. So that's a fair value gap on the daily. We do have our fair value gap there. The top of our fair value gap is also at that 786. So we'd be filling this fair value gap right here. That is also some more confluence for this 786 up here. Okay, and then let's change this to a weekly, and let's look at our weekly points of control. Nothing. Okay. We just front ran this one. Wow. So you guys on Ethereum, once again, let's turn this off. Let's do our pivot points. We do have a pivot point close up there as well. So this is definitely a major box of resistance here. Let's make that purple. And then we had our other resistance that I just showed you guys on ETH on this last chart here. That is let's zoom in here onto the 3-hour. this box up here. Gosh, I know this is messy. Sorry, guys. This box here. So we could just take this and extend it. Naked daily point of control, value area high 786. So our first area is going to be right around 3629. That was that 3629 naked daily and 786 area. And then our next area is this big midline up here. See, I already had a box up here actually. So let's see if I had, yeah, naked daily point of control and a 786 up there as well. So, and it's our channel midline. So we could do this. These are the two resistances I'd be watching right now for Ethereum. Of course, our supports are very, very local support. If we're going to see a pullback right now, is this area here. That's that point of control in confluence with the golden pocket pull just of this last little impulsive move up. We still do have our bigger supports down here, our value area low, our 0.5, and our naked daily point of control. And it's also would kind of be an SFP of these lows here. And then we have our daily into our golden pocket pull from low to high up here. So that's that area. Let's do this. Okay, and then our micro supports, guys, just be careful trading those. Have proper, if you do any sort of trade that's a more of a local trade, have proper risk management. Other than that, you guys, we could look, I mean, let's see here. The biggest, we could pump up if Ethereum really starts to kick off like Bitcoin's kicking off right now and starting to pump like crazy. The midline is going to be a level. You can see our midline rejects us every time we come up to it. So our midline, and by that time we would be up around this, probably this area of the chart. So 4,400 or so. I think that's near our all-time high. Let me go zoom out here onto the 2-day chart. No, our all-time high is 4,800. Okay. So that's Ethereum, you guys. And remember, our major support levels, this support resistance flip here. But we did hit into the bottom of the pitchfork. That's why we bounced where we did. And it was also our naked weekly point of control. If we zoom out, let's go to the 4-hour chart. And I'm going to get rid of this range now. We could be looking at a sort of channel here. It is being respected, and the top of our channel would be right in that resistance box as well. So that is a valid channel. You can see the midline's been respected here, midline respected here, here. So it is a valid, this box here, just we have a lot of confluence. This is our first box, okay, you guys, that 35.50 to 36.29. And then, of course, this box up here is a big one. That's where I'd really be looking for a sort of short. All right, that's Ethereum. Now let's go into XRP. XRP, so yeah, I've been talking about XRP lately. Actually, let's just come down here. I've been talking about XRP lately in a few of my videos, and we are seeing that correction that I was looking for. Now, remember, I talked about this in yesterday's video. This correction can take a while, and it's after an impulsive third wave. Oftentimes, when you've seen a correction like this, you guys, this correction looks like a bull flag to me. So if we zoom in here onto the 15-minute chart, you can see that we're trading in this descending channel. Let me clean that channel up. So we're going to go from the highs that we made to the next lower high here. And I think I need to clean up, readjust my... You can see that the midline's been holding us. And actually, did I do it from this one? Yeah, I used this one. All right. So we're trading in a descending channel. Earlier today, I did long the test of the rate here because we pumped up above the midline. We came back to retest it bullishly, and then I'm planning to take profit at the top of the channel and the back test of the band right here. And I've already got my limit set. And I'm getting completely out of it. Just a small scalp. So you can see though the midline's been really well respected. We are just chopping, and I did talk about this correction wave. Correction waves can be slow and choppy and be really annoying. It took us all of last night to finally lose this band. So now that we're finally losing it, we can come up to the back test of it to back test it as resistance. And then if we do reject from it as resistance, then we're going to continue down probably to the midline here. And it could be a slow, painful, grinding chop, like come up to here, come down, maybe come up again, come down, and then our midline and our band, and then we could break it. So our midline of our channel and our pitchfork midline together, we could even come down to much lower levels. But I mean, right now this looks awfully much like a bull flag to me. Now the flag is still short, so we need more time for it to form. But you could see this could be the pull here, increasing volume by far on the pull all the way up. The volume is increasing all the way up. Now, I do not like this big spike of red volume. Well, I guess that was at the top. Yeah, that was before the pull ended. So, and then we've been seeing decreasing volume, much lower volume as the flag has been forming. XRP, I'm hearing a lot of like fundamental news on it, like Trump's going to sign an executive order to pay no capital gains tax on it. If that's true, this bull flag might actually play out. And if he did make a deal, like, you know, I saw something about they're talking about creating an Ripple and Solana reserve fund, just like with Bitcoin. So if that's true, we could see massive explosions on this. But right now we're trading in this channel, so we can just trade the channel, trade the resistances above. If we do break this channel to the upside and reclaim this band, then we could be looking to come take the highs very easily. So right now, if we don't reject right here and continue to range, which I think is likely, to be honest, I do think that's likely. But if we are somehow able to break above this, come back and back test it, and then we might see us continue higher. Or the third option, because it is a weekend and we do see a lot of sideways price action on the weekend, we might do something like break this, come back and just start chopping around in the channel and forming more of a sideways range here. And that's a possibility as well. So let's just keep an eye on that for Ethereum, or not for Ethereum, for XRP, excuse me. And yeah, but targets to the downside, obviously this liquidity grab here is important now, because depending on how long it takes us chopping around, you can see we front ran the liquidity grab twice here. So it's almost triple lows or semi-equal lows. You know, this low here is pretty much semi-equal to that. I don't think we didn't take that liquidity yet. So we have double lows here, double bottom here, but also this liquidity down below here is even more important. So I would be looking at this one. I would look to try to take all three of them at the same time. And if we chop around for a bit, for a couple days, then it would be nice. It would be really nice, actually, if we did something like this, chopped around for a bit, and then boom, here, SFP into those, and then go. And then the alternative, you guys, is we could see a dump to the bottom of the channel. We do have if we do our last golden pocket pull from our last major dump low, like this dump low here, that was Bitcoin's wave 2 correction of this impulse that we're seeing now. It was the same timing. We could do our 786 here. And so our 786 is, it would have to take a long time. So let's see here. This is Saturday. So yeah, if we do range all weekend, you guys, we could just chop down slowly in this channel all weekend long. And let's see, like here, it's still Saturday. It's late at night Saturday, but we do have these lows here into our 786. So that is going to be an area to be watching. Actually, let's do this. Let's put this here. So SFP. That $3.02 area is going to be a level that I'm definitely looking for a bounce from. We still have our much bigger resistances or supports down below. Let's zoom out, actually. Let's zoom out onto the 4-hour chart. Let's move that. So this 0.5 is from this low here to the high. We have our 0.5 right around this box here. This is such bullish price action though, you guys, that this pitchfork, the levels are changing so quickly because it's a dynamic resistance. So as time goes on, the support gets higher and higher and higher because the timing of it. But it's looking strong, you guys. Like look at this 4-hour chart here. No bear divs, and money flow is starting to pop up again on the 4-hour here. We could break out of this actually. Good thing, you know, I'm not setting a short here, and maybe I should set my take profit only to like 75% and let some run. I was planning on taking profit of all of it there, but I'll look at that after I'm done with the video. All right, let's go to the 1-hour chart. Let's see if we're seeing the bear divs play out here. So yeah, money flow is starting to look bad, but it is starting to bottom out here and curve up, as well as our momentum wave is starting to bottom out. That's actually why I took the long. When I saw us down here at the midline, our momentum wave was bottoming out. So that gave me a signal there. But our 2-hour chart. So remember, our multiple drives of 2-hour on the bear div told me that we were going to get a sort of corrective price action. So our 3 drives of bear div here. And we are seeing a green dot at the 0 line. Oftentimes, a dot at the 0 line will give us a push up, and our money flow is starting to bottom out and curve to the upside, kind of like this. Bottomed out and then started curving up again. So we might break this channel, but I do still expect more of a correction after such a big impulse like this. Like, see this correction even here took longer than this, what we're seeing right now here. But a real big correction, because remember, if we're looking at this as this could be a couple different counts here, but this could be our 1 wave here, our 2 wave here. Well, let me get the right one first of all. Our 5 wave impulse, 1 wave here, 2 wave here, 3 wave up to the top of the pitchfork. 4 wave could be, you know, could end here at the liquidity grab, and then our 5th wave, depending on how high. I mean, I think the good 5th wave would be around this area here where the 2 pitchforks meet, and that's what 370, 365, 367. So that could be the end of our impulse, but we could also look at this, you guys, as a double 1-2. So I'm learning more about these right now from the Coons Elliott stuff. He's entirely an Elliott trader, Elliott wave trader, and Elliott waves are great, you guys. For higher time frame stuff, Elliott waves are so good. So this could be like a double 1-2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you see your 3rd wave up, and then you would see a 4, 5, 4, 5. You would want to see that. So if there's a double 1-2, that means there's a double 4, 5, and then the 3 is still the same. But if that's the case, I actually like the 5 wave impulse better than a double 1-2. But we do have this little thing in here. I still think of that as kind of the 3rd wave, just as a flash crash of the 3rd wave. Because overall, if you look at this structure, it's still like a parabolic structure to the upside. So that looks like a 3rd wave to me. If you just take this and do like that, and then we would be ending that. So 3rd wave there, 4th wave down, 5th wave. So that's XRP. All right. This video is getting kind of long already. You guys, if you do want to support me, I did partner with MEXC, and they are giving a really juicy sign-up bonus. So if you deposit just $100 of USDT, you'll get $20 free. That's 20% bonus on your account there. That's really good. And then you can get more, earn up to more based off how you do your futures trading. This only goes till January 25th, this campaign of the extra $20. So you're running out of time if you want to sign up for that. MEXC does require KYC, you guys, but you can get something that's legal. It's called a Palu ID. So if you go into, it's called RNS ID. That, like, if you just Google RNS ID, RNS.ID, it'll bring you to the Palu ID website, and it's a country that's down like these islands, and you can actually get a citizenship through them. All you have to do is you sign up through their thing. I think you have to take a picture of your driver's license, send it into them, and then they'll send you a passport. I have one myself, not a passport, an ID card, where you'll be a citizen of them, and then you can legally KYC under MEXC or under Bybit on any of these exchanges that don't allow US traders. But if you have that, you'll be able to KYC and trade on MEXC. MEXC does have some of the best trading fees there is, and they also have a lot of liquidity on the exchange. So I really like MEXC. The two exchanges I'm trading on right now are MEXC and Weeks. All right, guys, I'm going to make another video later today for some more altcoins. But everyone have a good day. I hope this helped a little bit, and let's just watch this explosive price action develop.